Hey, it's been a long time. Well, I was in Austria and... You know what? I'll tell more about that at the end of the video. It's me again, Big of Mustache. Well, not really. Mustache is the American spelling of my name, but I can tell a good chunk of you actually speak the English variation of it. So for you, it's actually Big of Mustache. Lionel Messi, at 35 years old, is banging goals and assists for PSG. Ibrahimovic, before his injury, was an important player in Milan's title campaign last season, when he was 40 years old. Buffon is 45 right now and he's playing for his childhood club. Aren't those stories just disgraceful? They're stealing opportunities for younger players. Oh man, I hope I finally get to play for the first team, my family will be so proud. Yeah, right. Keep dreaming, kid. No, my TV fell off. That's why I went to Football Manager and I changed the rules so that only players 21 years or younger at the start of the season could play in the top 5 leagues. And I tested the save for 5 seasons with some really interesting results. Starting with the first season, we go to Italy where Juventus won the league, thanks, of course, for the fact that they didn't lose 15 points here. Other surprises go to Lecce snatching the 5th place and Napoli staying out of Europe despite... Kvara, just Kvara, being the best player in the league. Going to Germany, Dortmund that has a squad that includes players like Bellingham, Reina, Adeyemi and Moukoko. I can say this experiment really suits them. Thanks to this, they managed to stay only 17 points behind Bayern. You didn't really expect anything different, did you? Next stop is Spain, where Barcelona have destroyed the league. Imagine making 85 points and still being more than 20 points away from the title. In France, we got a massive upset with Rennes winning the league, with PSG barely qualifying to the Conference League. So this experiment started well. Rennes owes a lot of that success to Kalimundo, who scored 36 goals in the entire season. And finally, England, because my analytics shows that that's what most of you are here for. The trophy goes to the team with the most amazing youngsters. Of course, I'm talking about Leeds. Wait, how? Their top scorer made only 10 goals in the league, while the top scorer of the league was 18-year-old Evan Ferguson for Brighton, so I guess their future is bright at Brighton. No, wait, I wasn't trying to make a pun, it just happened. Please don't leave. Man, why do I punish my audience like this? No, that wasn't a pun either. No, not on purpose at least. But at least he's got a promising future ahead of him. That is, until he turns 22 and he's forced to leave. Before we go to the other seasons, I need to talk about something really interesting that happened in the save, the European competitions. What do you think would happen? Reasonably, there are 2 possibilities. Number 1, since they can't use their older players in the league, teams from top 5 leagues would sell the best players to other clubs and then those clubs would start winning the Champions League. Or number 2, since the teams from other countries cannot afford those players, they will stay in the top 5 leagues and so those teams will keep winning the Champions League. Or, if you play Football Manager long enough, you may have guessed it. The game being so broken that the teams decide to not sell their players, but also not use them in the Champions League. That's right, the teams from the top 5 leagues decided to not use their best players in the Champions League, which led to some funny results and culminated with Red Bull Salzburg winning the Champions League in the very first season, and also Anderlecht winning the Conference League. The sole exception was Roma, who won the Europa League using their best players. Why does this happen, and why it doesn't happen with Roma? I don't know. Maybe there's some genius there who realized, hey, since we can't use our best players in the league, why not use them in Europa League instead? And because of that, they also dominated the squad of the season for the Europa League. Juve wins in Italy again. The surprise goes to Bologna, who, like I said in previous video, has some decent young players. And the negative highlight goes to Atalanta, who scored only 40 goals despite having by far the top scorer of the season for the 2nd time in a row. In Germany, it feels like Bayern is still unstoppable. In Spain, Barca wins again, but this time with a pretty strong top 4. In France, sadly, PSG managed to win the league again, despite only scoring 44 goals. The Premier League title goes to Leeds again. How is their team so good? And Brighton almost qualifies to the Champions League after being carried by Ferguson and his 25 goals in the season. The Champions League ended in an all-Portuguese final with Benfica finally breaking the curse and defeating Tottenham as well, who actually used their best players. But guys, if you're gonna lose like this, at least use the youngsters so at least I can blame the game and not you. Other than Tottenham, Manchester City also learned to use the best players, and so did Chelsea. And unfortunately for them, so did Liverpool. In the Conference League that wasn't an issue and Galatasaray won the title. In the third season, Juve wins again. It's interesting to look at Napoli getting relegated. Since Guevara is now too old to play in the league, they don't have any future World Cup champion to use. And it does look like Juve will keep winning since now they have Endrick on the squad. In Germany, it happened! Apparently most of Bayern's squad got too old and they couldn't keep up with previous years, so now it's Freiburg's turn to win it. Also, looks like Union Berlin has a squad too good for the second division, but too old for the top division, so it seems they're gonna be a yo-yo club in this experiment. In Spain, Valencia surprises again, and despite the league being very competitive, Barcelona takes the trophy home one more time. In France, it happened again! This time, PSG couldn't even threaten to win the title and stayed 20 points away from Monaco, who won the league. But the best surprise has got to be Sochaux, since in real life, they're still in the second division. And finally, in England, Leeds' reign of terror is over and Man United... I didn't think this would actually happen. Tottenham is gonna play in the Championship in the next season. Man United won the season, but that's not important. Tottenham got relegated. In the Champions League, with the new format, things are looking pretty interesting. Really, how can anyone not like this format? In the end, Porto got their revenge from previous season's loss against Benfica. Something interesting to point out is that the teams from outside the top leagues are starting to win fair and square. Both Real Madrid and Barcelona used their best players and still lost to Benfica and Ajax. Another thing is that there seems to be a Turkish resurgence with the Europa League being won by Trabzonspor and the Conference League going to Fenerbahce. Another season in Italy and another Juve title, but it's fun to see Spal in the Champions League and Cremonese almost qualifying despite having a negative goal difference. Germany finally becomes the exciting league that it has the potential to be, with Cologne winning the title on the final match day of the season. In Spain, Real Madrid finally takes the title away from Barcelona, while in France, PSG is nowhere to be found while Monaco easily wins the league again. In England, things look pretty normal, as if the experiment had made no difference in the country whatsoever. Except for one tiny detail. Tottenham is missing. Which, fair play to them, they did walk the league in the championship, having 44 points more than the also promoted Middlesbrough. In the Champions League, again, a team outside of the top 5 league wins. This time Porto defeated Real Madrid, while in Europa League, seriously, how can you not love this format? Arsenal won the title, but then, with an opponent like this, you can hardly expect less. While City settles with the Conference League title. It's the final season and we go to Italy. What do you think happens? Juventus wins again. Despite only scoring 43 goals in all season, nobody else is capable of doing much more here. It is interesting how half of Sassuolo's goals were scored by the same kid though. In a bit we get to Germany, but first let's go to Spain, where Barcelona wins in again, and the funniest bit is Elche not only qualifying to the Champions League but also finishing ahead of Real Madrid. In France, sadly, PSG recovered themselves and won the league. And the first team to beat them, Rennes, they got relegated. In England, United made easy work of the league, and it is a real shame, but we will not get to see what Norwich will do in the Champions League. Talking about the Champions League, nothing unusual happens. And in a competition dominated by the top 5 leagues, Cologne wins the title in the end. How did they do that? Well, by acting like a human playing FM. They built a squad where the best players were just young enough to be able to play in the league, which they easily won by the way. Oh, geez, that's sad. The other time they at least won a single match. Anyway, I think their squad got enough chemistry that it was enough to defeat anyone who stood in their way. Not much happened in the other competitions. Valencia won the Europa League and Club Brugge won the conference. So I spent some time looking at awards like best player, top scorer and stuff, and nothing too worthy of putting in the video, but I found a weird glitch when it comes to goalkeeper trophies. Look how in Spain, the best keeper considered 0 goals and is also a right back. How did this happen? Turns out the player in question actually is a goalkeeper, but by lack of players, Cadiz had to choose him as a right back. And since technically he was not the one conceding goals, the game kept giving him clean sheets, and because of that he won as best keeper in the league and also made the team of the season as well. So going to team's coefficients, Porto is far ahead of everyone else. No surprises there. 3 Champions League finals will do that to you. With Salzburg being the only one not too far, and then there is Ajax, Benfica, Barcelona, PSV, Sporting, and finally Madrid, Juventus and City. The really fun bit though are the nation coefficients. Portugal took the lead and ran with it, and the rest of the top 5 leagues now are England, Spain, Netherlands, and Turkey. Which is a bit surprising because while I did talk about them, there are no Turkish teams in the top 25 clubs. They're really doing it on the back of one single good season they had. The rest of the top is Belgium, Germany, Austria, Italy and Greece. Wait, where's France? They're far behind, between Ukraine and just ahead of Bulgaria. Also, this video took a while to make, because last month I was traveling to Austria. I even went to an Austrian match against Austria Klagenfurt, a match so spicy they named the entire country after it. The match itself was kinda remarkable, but there was some couple interesting things. A cup of Coca-Cola cost 6 euros, so avoid that at all costs. And also the media lies to you. You know those things that are next to the goals that you see on TV? They're not really there. That's all I want to say. Bye! Weird. There's a letter here. It's from Interpol. Do they know? No. There's no way they can know about this. It's impossible. Anyway, I'm gonna open. Weird. This is just a blank piece of paper.